You won't believe what Pastor Creflo Dollar just revealed about Bishop T.D. Jakes stepping down, and it's sending shockwaves through the entire church world. According to Dollar, this wasn't a peaceful retirement or a personal decision made in prayer. No, he's boldly claiming that Bishop Jakes was pushed, not by scandal, not by the public, but by pressure from within his own family. Let that sink in. One of the most powerful voices in modern ministry, possibly forced into silence by the very people who should have been protecting his legacy. And now, Creflo is the only major leader willing to speak out. His tribute isn't just honoring a man, it's exposing a truth the church wasn't ready to face. Was this really Jake's choice? Or has a quiet storm been brewing behind closed doors for years? And if what Creflo is saying is true, what does that mean for the future of leadership, legacy, and loyalty in the Black church? This moment isn't just the end of an era, it could be the beginning of a reckoning. Stay tuned, because what we're about to uncover will make you question everything you thought you knew about Bishop T.D. Jakes' final days in the pulpit. For decades, Bishop T.D. Jakes has been more than just a preacher. He's been a spiritual titan, a commanding voice in the modern Christian world, revered for his wisdom, leadership, and anointing. Jakes built an empire that stretched far beyond the walls of the Potter's house. So when he recently announced that he was stepping down from certain leadership roles, many assumed it was a peaceful, prayerful transition, a well-earned moment of rest. But behind the scenes, not everyone's convinced this was his decision alone. In fact, what Pastor Creflo Dollar just revealed has shattered that calm narrative and sparked a firestorm of speculation across the church world. In a tribute that started off respectful but quickly turned explosive, Pastor Dollar boldly suggested that Bishop Jakes didn't step down, he was pushed, and not by scandal or sickness, but by his own inner circle. That's right, according to Dollar, Jakes may have been pressured into early retirement by family members who wanted control, legacy, or simply a different future. It's a revelation that's shaking the foundation of Black church leadership and raising urgent questions about power, loyalty, and what really goes on behind closed sanctuary doors. In today's video, we unpack the full truth behind Dollar's claims, the hidden tensions within the Jakes family, and what this moment means for the future of the Potter's house and the church at large. Pastor Creflo Dollar has always been known for taking a direct approach to contentious issues, but when he recently paid tribute to Bishop T.D. Jakes, he elevated the discussion to a whole new level. In a recent sermon, Dollar expressed his admiration for Jakes' decades of leadership, calling him a man of integrity and a giant in the faith community who transformed the lives of countless Christians around the world. But in what many are describing as a pivotal moment, Dollar changed course. Instead of merely praising Jakes' career, he started to inquire about the circumstances surrounding his decision to resign. Dollar called the pressure Jake had been under in recent years, especially from his family, unfair. This statement caused a stir among Christians. Was Dollar implying that Bishop Jakes' retirement wasn't solely his decision for those who might not be aware? Bishop T.D. Jakes made headlines when he announced that he would be reducing his leadership roles at the Potter's house. His announcement was met with shock and mixed reactions. According to Creflo Dollar, there's much more going on behind the scenes. Jakes had built an empire over the years, leading one of the largest churches in the country. His resignation seemed to signal a new era in the ministry, and his presence at the helm of the Potter's house was symbolic of the intersection between faith and prosperity. About acknowledging Jakes' legacy, it was about bringing to light a complicated and sometimes painful reality. The pressure Jake allegedly experienced from his own family has long been the subject of anonymous conjecture. His children, especially his sons, have occasionally talked about the difficulties they faced as they grew up under the scrutiny of such a well-known father. But now Dollar is bringing that personal battle to the public's attention. What does this mean? Dollar's remarks imply that there may have been an untold story. The shocking part is that we're only beginning to explore this sensitive and contentious subject. Dollar didn't just allude to these pressures, he is now publicly contesting the story surrounding Jake's decision to resign. What is the whole story behind this? Could it be that Bishop Jake was forced to make this decision by the very people he trusted the most, his own family? Did they place expectations on him that were too great to bear, even for someone as powerful as Jake? What makes this story unique is the potential impact it could have on future generations of church leadership. If Creflo Dollar's words are any indication, they could start a much-needed conversation about the pressures faced by church leaders, especially those with powerful positions. The more we delve into Dollar's tribute, the more it seems like there's an untold side to Bishop Jake's journey that's been left in the shadows, and a side that some people are desperate to keep hidden. To fully comprehend the impact of Creflo Dollar's remarks, we must delve deeper into the dynamics of the Jake family. Bishop T.D. Jakes has frequently discussed the difficulties of juggling his personal life with his public ministry. He's a man. However, if family pressure was such a significant factor in Jake's decision, what does that mean for the future of his ministry? What happens to the Potter's house after his departure? How will his family react to these claims? T.D. Jake has built a legacy that is entwined with his family over the years. His wife, First Lady Sarita Jakes, has supported him through the highs and lows. But it's no secret that his children, especially his sons, have faced unique challenges as they grow up in the spotlight. Jake has preached about success, sacrifice, and the cost of leadership, but behind that powerful persona, there have been struggles that few people outside his immediate circle truly understand. The pressure to live up to the great Bishop T.D. Jake's legacy can create an invisible weight that no one can see on the outside. For years, there have been rumors about the expectations placed on Jake's children, especially his sons Jermaine and Jamar. Jake's children have grown up in the church, and some have even followed in their father's footsteps. Despite this, there has been constant discussion about the psychological toll it takes. Jake's decision to step back may have been influenced by pressure from both his congregation and his own family. According to Dollar's comments, as family dynamics change and younger generations take over, it's normal for younger members to have their own ideas about the direction the ministry should go. In fact, Jake's children may have had their own ideas about the Potter's house, which could have influenced their father's decision to give up some of his. The story takes a turn at this point. According to family sources, some of Jake's children had been pushing for him to resign because they thought it was time for a new era of leadership. While that may seem like a reasonable request, there are deeper ramifications because Jake's resignation was about striking a delicate balance between his role as a spiritual leader and family expectations. But here's the cliffhanger. Was this pressure? We know that family dynamics can be complex, but the public hasn't heard the whole story from Jake's family. Although Creflo Dollar has been vocal, there is still a lot we don't know about the behind-the-scenes conversations that took place. What sets this story apart from others is that Jake, a man of immense influence, is now dealing with the same pressure that many others in leadership face. Did his children provide the last straw for Jake, or was it a mutual decision? The question that remains is whether a leader can truly step away from their life's work without the weight of expectations, both personal and public, playing a major role in their decision. The most absurd part is that as Jake gets ready to assign some of his responsibilities to others, it's unclear how his family will handle the pressure themselves. Will they be able to lead the Potter's house without the shadow of Bishop T.D. Jake is not only a spiritual leader, he is a global icon whose influence has transcended church walls over the years. The question is, will the transition to new leadership be smooth, or will it fuel further tensions within the Jake family? This whole situation may be the start of a more complicated story that could play out over the next few months or even years. His sermons have inspired millions, and his ministry has left an untouchable legacy. However, the public's response to Jake's recent announcement of his resignation has been mixed. On the one hand, many people respect Jake for stepping back and handing the mantle to a new generation, as leadership transitions are a normal part of any organization, especially in the church. On the other hand, some people find the idea of Jake's after all. T.D. Jake built the Potter's house from the ground up, and his voice, vision, and leadership have been crucial to the church's success. Therefore, focusing more on his personal life, his family, and possibly even his legacy outside of the pulpit is seen as a wise move. But for others, this decision feels premature. Jake has been such a prominent figure in the Christian community that his absence from the center stage has left many wondering if the church will lose its direction. It felt like a big change in leadership, one that might leave a gap. But this is where things get really interesting. Creflo Dollar's tribute not only highlights the pressures on the Jake family, but it also reveals more about the expectations placed on megachurch pastors in general. There is an unwritten rule that leaders like Jake must always perform at their best, regardless of their personal hardships or needs for relaxation. And when someone like Jake makes a major decision, whether a pastor decides to step back voluntarily or under pressure, it's not just about the individual, it's about the culture that has been built around these iconic figures. According to Dollar, Bishop Jake isn't the only one who feels this unfair pressure. Many pastors and leaders in similar roles do as well. As pastors age and their families change, the expectations don't always match the reality of their lives. They're expected to be everything to everyone while leading their congregations and maintaining, in a way, this tribute to Jake isn't just about honoring him. It's also about starting a conversation about the pressures of church leadership and the toll it takes on even the strongest individuals. But what's really shocking about Dollar's tribute is his candor in calling out the system of unrealistic expectations. He didn't just celebrate Jake's accomplishments. He also pointed out the flaws in a system that demands such immense sacrifices from its leaders. Even more intriguing is the fact that an increasing number of people in the megachurch community shared Dollar's concerns, believing that the church culture has placed an excessive amount of pressure on its leaders to never display signs of weakness or burnout. While Jake's decision to step back may have been presented as a peaceful transition for many, it actually feels like a response to years of constant pressure, from which even someone as powerful as TD Jake was unable to escape. However, what happens next as Jake enters a new chapter of his life? We're left to wonder how his choice will affect the Potter's house going forward. Will it lead to a broader movement of other leaders resigning or reevaluating their positions? Or will it only draw attention to the systemic problems with the megachurch model that need to be fixed? And here's the crazy part. Even though we may believe that this decision was made for personal reasons, there's a bigger question that could be on the horizon. Could this historical moment signal the start of a more significant change in the way we think about church? We may be witnessing the end of an era where megachurch pastors are expected to be superhuman as more pastors confront the harsh realities of their personal and public lives. However, before we can fully comprehend what lies ahead, we must examine the implications of this change, not only for TD Jake, but also for the entire global church community. As we delve deeper into the core of this issue, we cannot overlook the most intimate aspect of TD Jake's decision: the pressure from his family. Creflo Dollar's tribute wasn't just many may believe that the family dynamic in such a well-known ministry is just another background to Jake's public persona. But the reality is much more complex. Jake's family has been in the spotlight nearly as much as he has, and his wife Sarita has supported him for decades. Dollar's criticism of the situation as unfair pressure from family is a subtle commentary on the extreme strain that Jake's family has been under for years. Although the Jake family has supported TD Jake's mission, it is undeniable that the pressure of holding such a prominent position can strain relationships, particularly when it comes to juggling personal and professional lives. The truth is that leadership at this level doesn't come without sacrifices, and for TD Jake, some of those sacrifices may have been his own. Their children, Sierra, Jamar, and Sarah, have each carved out their own paths in the public eye. Time with his spouse, kids, and inner peace. The very nature of megachurch leadership requires pastors to sacrifice more than most people can imagine. The long hours, constant demands, and constant public scrutiny strain not only the individual but also their families. However, if we take a closer look at Dollar's tribute, it becomes evident that he's not just discussing the demands of leadership. He's referring to the way in which the Jake family, especially TD Jake, has been expected to put aside their personal lives for the sake of the ministry. Having worked in the field for years, Creflo Dollar is aware of the conflict between ministry and family and has witnessed firsthand the toll it takes on those closest to these well-known leaders. This is where it gets really personal though, because Creflo Dollar goes beyond simply acknowledging the pressures that Jake faced by pointing out that they weren't always external. In part, this was due to the shifting dynamics within Jake's family, rather than just the public or his congregation. As the children grew older and started to speak for themselves, it became evident that Jake was expected to pass the leadership torch to the next generation. However, how does a leader, husband, and father balance the demands of his ministry with the needs and wants of his family? What's even more intriguing about this story is that it wasn't just while TD Jake's vision has been largely responsible for the church's worldwide success. The next generation of Jake's family members had different expectations for what the future of the Potter's house should look like. In addition, the family had started to look towards a new era that, quite frankly, didn't involve their father at the helm. However, There is an emotional twist here, even though many might see this as a logical decision for the ministry's good. After all, Jake spent his entire life creating the Potter's house. It's more than just a church, it's his legacy. It's where he's poured his heart, soul, and energy. Leaving it isn't as easy as passing the keys to the next generation. It's a difficult emotional decision that comes with its own set of sacrifices. And now for the shocking part, while it's easy to concentrate on the outside pressures, the congregation's situation, and how the world is responding, gives the story a whole new level of complexity. The legacy that T.D. Jake has created isn't just a ministry, it's a family affair. As we've seen with other well-known families in the church world, these kinds of leadership changes frequently cause more than just a change in power. They can also bring about intense personal conflicts, family rifts, and emotional turmoil. The most absurd aspect of all of this is that, as T.D. Jake steps back, the future of the Potter's house is not only in the hands of the next generation of leaders, it's also in his. We can't ignore the growing question of whether T.D. Jake's decision to step down will result in healing and growth or in a rift that threatens the very foundation of his legacy. As we've seen, T.D. Jake's decision to step down and the pressures from his family are nothing compared to the challenges their children and possibly even his wife will face as they navigate these changes. Will they continue to honor the legacy that T.D. Jake built, or will the family face internal struggles that could overshadow the ministry itself? The first part of the equation is obvious. T.D. Jake has established a massive global ministry that reaches millions of people. His influence extends beyond the pulpit. He is a best-selling author, media mogul, and business leader. His legacy is untouchable. The Potter's House is a beacon of hope for countless people worldwide. However, as this story draws to a close, one major question still looms over it all. What does this mean for his legacy, and where does he go from here? But let's take a moment to consider the emotional side of things. What does it mean for T.D. Jakes personally to hand over this monumental responsibility? We've heard from Creflo about the pressures Jake faced from his family, but it's important to understand that success comes with an inherent question of succession. For years, people have wondered who would take the reins when the time came, and now that the time has arrived, it seems clear that the next generation of Jake's family members is poised to carry the torch. Although Jake's name has become synonymous with leadership, this new chapter is refreshing because it's a shift towards sustainability. The church needs a new vision that resonates with the next generation, and who better to provide it than him? T.D. Jake stepping down doesn't mean he's done with ministry. He's just entering a new phase of his life. He will still be involved in the church and continue to guide the next generation, but without the burden of being the sole leader. That vision than his own children, who have grown up witnessing their father create this empire. Even more significant is the timing of this transition, which occurs at a time when many megachurches are facing comparable succession issues. When church leadership passes from one generation to the next, it's frequently a time of reckoning for the entire congregation. Will they accept the new direction, or will they have faith in the new leadership to carry on the ministry's work for T.D. Jakes has always been known for his ability to adapt. Whether it was his early days as a pastor in small churches or his rise to global prominence, he has repeatedly demonstrated that he knows how to evolve with the times. This is just another evolution in his long and illustrious career. Jake, this could be a pivotal turning point. Will his family's vision align with his own? Will his legacy endure the test of time, or will it be redefined by the ideals of the next generation? Not be running the Potter's house the way he used to, but that doesn't mean he's abandoning his role as a spiritual leader. His impact will live on in the hearts and thoughts of people who have been moved by his words all over the world. But here's the crazy part. By stepping aside, T.D. Jake might be creating space for his kids and others to thrive in ways they couldn't if they were living under his shadow. The ministry could become even more varied. T.D. Jake's influence could reach far beyond the walls of the church into the entertainment industry and social change. And who knows, the future might bring new endeavors, ministries, and even a new vision for how faith-based organizations can function in the modern world. Now, this is where it gets really personal for the viewers. As much as we talk about the big picture, we must remember that this is a family going through a significant transition, and the decision has an impact on more than just the congregation. The future of the Potter's house may look different, but that doesn't lessen the legacy T.D. Jake has created. The next generation is now responsible for determining not only the future of the Potter's house, but also the direction of faith-based leadership on a global scale. The stakes are high, and the world is watching. Let's conclude with one last thought. TD Jake has always been a man of faith and vision. He has taken bold steps throughout his career, and this moment is no different. What do you think about TD Jake's decision to step down and the pressure from his family? Will the next generation be able to carry the torch as successfully as he did? Or will we see the beginning of a new era in church leadership that looks vastly different from the past? This is just one thing we can be sure of as we watch this transition unfold. TD Jake's influence isn't going anywhere. It's just evolving, and that evolution will continue to shape the future of ministry leadership and the faith community for years to come. We've covered a lot today, but the story is far from finished. The changes in the Potter's home and Jake's family will surely continue to garner media attention. If you want to be informed about this evolving story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. We'd also appreciate it if you could share this with your friends.